Media Inflator, and good afternoon and welcome to the podium. Our quote for today comes from Ban Ki-moon, former UN Secretary General. It says sustainable development is a pathway to future we want for all. It offers a framework to generate economic growth, achieve social justice, exercise environmental stewardship, and strengthen governance. Well, coming up in this edition of the podium, National Revenue Authority Anti-Smuggling Unit apprehends a truckload of assorted drugs. MED International, in collaboration with the Media Reform Coordinating Group, has ended a nationwide sensitization on the 1961 Civil Defamation Law. West Africa College of Nursing is set to organize its biennial meeting in Sierra Leone to deliberate on programs and activities of the college. And NACIT discovers fraudulent scheme on its Social Security clearance certificates. Well, all these and more coming up in this edition of the podium, which you can be part of by sending your messages to 088-373-504. This is the podium. My name is Daphne Zainab. Welcome to the podium. The Deputy Commissioner, Anti-Smuggling Unit and Border Controls Management of the National Revenue Authority, Richard Hindolo Sanesi, and his team have apprehended a truckload of assorted drugs, food and non-food items in Kenema. The items would have paid over 19 million leos as tax to the National Revenue Authority if gone through proper checking by the custom officers. The Deputy Commissioner said that the truck driver evaded customs by passing through Kenema to another neighboring country, but it was intercepted by the police. The truck is still with the police for further investigations with the driver. He explained to Hawa Musire in this interview about the apprehension of the truck.
Listeners and viewers, as she rightly said, I'm Richard Hindolo Sanesi, Assistant Commissioner, Anti-Smuggling Unit and Border Controls Management. I just took up office. I was doing a tour to assess actually what is going on the borders of this country. So I went all the way to Jendema. On my way back, we got an intelligence, my team and I, the manager of our station, Mr. Mohammed M. Kaikai, and the officer in charge of the south and the east, Mr. Benjamin Kagbo. After the tour from Jendema, we got an intelligence that there is a truck that was supposed to be coming from Guinea going to Liberia in transit. The final destination was supposed to be Liberia, but unfortunately the truck decided to go into Kenema and it stopped in Kenema. So we we spoke to the police, the LUC in Kenema and the other police officers for the truck to be arrested and detained in Kenema police station. So that was done on Friday. We continued on our tour. We went to Kailaun and came back. On Saturday, we decided to actually do a 100% check on the truck to see what was actually inside of the truck. My officer in charge, Mr. Benjamin Kagbo, was in charge of doing the checking, the 100% checking, and it was supervised by myself and Mr. Kaikai. We did the checking and realized that they had a lot of contrabands in their stuff that were not supposed to, items that were not supposed to be in the truck. Like for example, tramadol and other form of drugs. And they also made a legal declaration to the customs at Balamuya, because whatever we had on the manifest was not what was in the truck. So as a result, we were supposed to be levied a penalty, and they are supposed to pay the taxes that was evaded by them.
As we speak now, where is the truck and what have you done, towards that in terms of invading taxes, from the checkpoint?
All right. One of the reasons why they said it was a transit, because normally, according to international best practice, custom laws, if the truck is going on transit, they are only supposed to pay transit fee, which is 0.5%. So as a result, they only paid something like 1 point something million leons to customs, as opposed to the declaration, which was supposed to be about 18 to 19 million leons. So they evaded taxes for about 18 million, or almost 17 to 18 million leons. So that alone is something they have to pay back. And the officer has done his calculation. They're supposed to pay times 3% of whatever the total cost is supposed to be of the items that are in the truck. The truck is the custody of the police, the LUC. I want to commend them, the LUC in Kenema, CSP Amara, and the other police officers for the total cooperation. They held onto the truck for us, and they even gave us space for us to be able to do our check.
Okay.
Our evaluation and everything.
So are they going to pay the balance tax that they invade?
Yes, they're definitely going to pay. That's why the truck is still in police custody. The items, not only the truck, but the items are with the police. Until they pay and get a receipt, they will take back the receipt to the police before they will allow them to take their goods.
So are you going to continue doing the same check in the other regions across the country? Because we have series of porous border areas within Syria.
Well, that is my job. The only thing is that, definitely it's going to be on the spot check. I'm not going to stand out here and start explaining the strategy I'm going to use. I just took over office, and definitely we have over 800 crossing points in the country. The task is herculean, and we have to make sure we do what we have to do to minimize smuggling.
Well, that was the Deputy Commissioner Anti-Smuggling Unit and Border Controls Management of the National Revenue Authority, Richard Hindolo Senesi, talking there to Hawa Musire. For another issue this afternoon, the West Africa College of Nursing is a specialized arm of nursing profession in Africa. It is one of the constituent colleges of the West African Health Organization, established to enhance the specialty of nurses in the sub-region. The organization is set to organize its biennial meeting in Sierra Leone to deliberate on programs and activities of the College of Physicians, while Mrs. Henrietta Okedo is the Executive Secretary, West African College of Nursing. Good afternoon, welcome to the podium.
Good afternoon.
Tell us more about the West African College of Nursing.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. The West African College of Nursing is a specialized agency of the West African Health Organization, representing nurses and midwives in the West African sub-region. The Secretariat / College is domiciled in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, and it is one of the 4 colleges of the West African Postgraduate Medical College.
Okay.
We have other colleges like the College of Physicians, the College of Surgeons, the West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, and the West African College of Nursing. Part of the aim and objectives of setting up the college is to promote excellence in nursing education and practice. We know that health is a global thing, but most of the leaders in Africa rush to Europe and America to seek health care, not because we are not qualified, but because the environment and other extraneous variables are not making us to give the quality care. If you go to Europe and America, you see that most of the nurses they use there are Africans, most of them from Nigeria, from Sierra Leone, and from all the other West African countries. So why won't we replicate what is there in Europe and America, so that our economy will be more buoyant when we reduce medical tourism? So that is the aim of instituting the college, so that we can see how we can help our people to attain maximum and optimal health.
So what does it take for a nurse to be part of that college?
It's a postgraduate college. Therefore, any nurse that wants to come into the college will have at least a basic qualification of a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. That is the most basic qualification. We have people, nurses with masters and Doctor of Philosophy in the college. So it has a fellowship program, a 4-year fellowship program, whereby nurses who want to become fellows go through the educational process of 4 years that is divided into 3 parts. They go through the primary, the part 1 and part 2 before they are now qualified after certain exams and meeting other requirements. They are now inducted into the college as fellows.
What I want to know is that in Sierra Leone we have nursing schools, and would one after finishing nursing school be qualified for that?
Yes and no.
Because our nurses don't go to university here; they just go to the nursing school, and later they're qualified.
That is
what does that mean for our country?
What it means is that they may not be part of the college if they don't have the basic qualification of a Bachelor of Science, except if it is equated, if it's put in a scale and it's measured, and we see that the curriculum meets the curriculum of a Bachelor of Science.
So have you checked the curriculum of our nursing schools in this country?
Not yet. But why we have some fellows, some people in the college from Sierra Leone, that are Sierra Leoneans, is that at the inception of the college, there was not this criteria. It was just registered nurse certificate, registered.
So why did the criteria change?
The criteria had to change.
Sideline certain people? No,
it's not to sideline anybody, but it is to be in conformity with what obtains in other colleges. There is a minimum qualification. So if you want to be a specialist, that we are trying to do, we want to see nurses that are really specialists and consultants in their areas. We cannot all be generalists. So if you want to be a consultant or a specialist nurse, you must meet that requirement.
So what would you recommend to be included in Sierra Leone's nursing curriculum for them to immediately after graduation in the nursing school be able to become fellows?
The recommendation would come from knowing what is there on ground. We will look at the curriculum that is already existing, working with the regulatory body. I'm sure Sierra Leone has a regulatory body, so if we look at the curriculum and see what is deficient, we can advise, because we are not situated in the country, so we cannot enforce.
But you've been working with Sierra Leone, yes, and now we are holding your biennial meeting here in the country. So I think you should know what obtains here.
Yes, like I said earlier, the members that are there are older members. But the new ones, from what we gathered yesterday, we already have people with Bachelor of Science in Nursing in Sierra Leone. Even if they don't graduate from Sierra Leone, we have neighboring countries that have universities that offer nursing. Yes, so it's not like Sierra Leone is being sidelined. No, nobody is being sidelined, but the criteria has changed. And if Sierra Leoneans want to become specialists, and want to become fellows, the new ones I'm talking about, they have to do the needful, because we don't want a double standard. Now that we have taken up the fellowship program by examination, we want to maintain that standard.
So let's talk about the biennial meeting that is to be held here. What is that all about?
The college, let me start from some place so that you can understand. The college is such that we have member countries that make up this college, and the positions, the elective positions, are held in rotation, the same way hosting of biennial general meetings are held in rotation. I was here in 2007 when Sierra Leone hosted it. So it has gone round again, and now they are coming.
So how many countries make up?
For now, we have 6 countries. Five Anglophone countries of Sierra Leone, Liberia, the Gambia, Nigeria, and Ghana. 1 Francophone country of Republic of Benin. But in 2019, when we hope to come to Sierra Leone, we're also looking forward to welcoming 7
so this will be in
Francophone.
2019, not
yes,
now.
no. Okay. But we are here. A team, exactly, a team is here from the secretariat, from the college, to be sure that they meet the requirements for hosting the
So so far, well, we already met it. We hosted
the first
it
time,
in
yes,
2007.
But the criteria.
So you should know that we are advancing
yes,
every day.
Of course, Sierra Leone is very good at hosting. So they are so coordinated. What we have seen so far, since 2 days we arrived here, we are just very much impressed.
Okay, so
very impressed.
So when will the conference be?
It's starting on the 13th of March 2019. So, but the advanced team is here to inspect what is on ground. And
you're satisfied?
Unfortunately, the president is not here because the first lady, we have another appointment with the first lady. So she has gone with a group of others. So I am here as executive secretary. So the current president is from the Gambia, Mrs. Fatmata Jarai Dafi. She is our current president. And all the executives are elected every biennium. So by next year, we are going to have a new crop of.
So has Sierra Leone never held that position?
Oh, sure. We've had Mrs. Gaba, Amelia is a past president. She held the position from 2013 to 2015, and it moved to the Gambia, to Benin Republic. A man, Mr. Victor Zeklaplonon, held it till last year when Mrs. Fatmata took over. So it's now moving to Ghana. The next president is supposed to come from Ghana.
So when we need to come back to Sierra Leone?
That will be depending on how many countries that are joining. Like I said, we are going to have 7 new countries joining us next year from the Francophone countries. So the more countries we have, the longer it takes to come around. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the issues you would be addressing in this meeting.
The theme of the conference is going to be health service partnership. Service partnership. Okay. The role of nurses and midwives in global health security. That is the theme. We have other sub-themes, but that's the hub of what we're going to discuss. If you look around, you will know that the nurses, everywhere you go in the world, nurses constitute the greater part of the healthcare professionals. Others come and go. Doctors come and go, prescribe and go. Nurses stay 24 hours of the day. Therefore, if we want health security, the nurses must be in the forefront because they are always there to take care of our patients. So that is why we think it is auspicious to talk about partnership. Nobody can do it alone, in as much as the nurses constitute maybe 60% or more of the health professionals. We can't go it alone. The doctors have their own role to play. The pharmacist has his own role to play. The laboratory scientist and all others, even the cleaner in the health sector, has a role to play. And of course, no government can also go it alone. United Nations and WHO had always recommended that the budget for health should be at least 15%. I don't think any African country has ever met that criteria. For Nigeria, where I come from, I think the highest we have gone so far is 5%, between 3.5 to 5% of the budgetary allocation.
Of
the budgetary allocation. So the government cannot do it alone. We want to invite international organizations, we want to invite private sector to help partner so that we can achieve this sustainable development goals and the universal health coverage. That is what.
And also, Madam Kedo, here in Sierra Leone, our health professionals have been grappling with their conditions of service, the benefits and all of this. And most of them thrive in private clinics. And we know that's not good for the common people. The poor people have access to the government facilities. And what would you recommend during this meeting to make sure that these nurses stay and work for the common good of the people generally, not just those who are rich and capable of meeting the cost of the private entities?
That's a good question. It is not peculiar to Sierra Leone. It is all over the place. And if you want to assure quality health care, then it means you have to go to private sector to get it, because they have what it takes, but it costs a lot. And health insurance is not well developed in the West African sub-region, so people pay out of their pocket, and it's quite expensive, and it's only the rich that can afford it. So the West African College of Nursing is partnering with schools of nursing, hospitals, public health sector, so that we can see how we can help the government to look at the plight of nurses. It is a general problem. Everywhere we outnumber all the health professionals, but we are still downplayed. Nurses are not well paid. Even in those private sectors where they work so much, they work their ass out. Some of them are paid as little as $20 for a month. That is why there's this brain drain. People keep going to Europe, people keep going to America, because they are not well remunerated in Africa, in the sub-region. And if you go to America, I was there some years back when the nurses in Nigeria were having their annual general meeting. They said it's National Association of Nigerian Nurses in North America. The number of nurses, qualified nurses, that I saw there, I have never seen in any hospital in Nigeria. Because everybody's running to get what?
Greener pastures.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So,
and also, what do you hope to achieve with this theme, health service partnership and the role of nurses and all?
We're already partnering with our parent body, which is WAHU, and we're also reaching out to International Council of Nurses, JPIGO, and all the others, that if they can help to send, even if it's not monetary, at least facilities, if we can equip our health centers and the community, because that is where the bulk of the people are. The people in the cities have money to go to big hospitals, but the people in the community are really the people that are suffering. So if our partners can help us to reach out to the poorest of the poor, nurses are ready to go to any place to work. We're always there. We want to go to any place to work, to help our people.
Okay, and finally, Mrs. Henrietta, before we go to another issue, one would think that most of these conferences, these meetings are just table talks. How would you bring this to a reality so that the nurses down there, they will be affected by this change you're calling for?
It's not all the conferences that are talk show. We have, over the years, tried to use the communique that are generated from these conferences to impact on the health of our people. We take it to our government, we take it to our partners, and like I said earlier, they help us. And nurses, especially the West African College of Nursing, we have empowered so many people. Even schools of nursing in the sub-region that don't have facilities, we help to equip them. And even if it's stipend, we give to our people so that they can find some element of joy and value in what they do. So we encourage them to do their work, even if the government is not forthcoming. But then, that is why we are talking about partnership. If we partner with government, we partner with the private sector, things will work.
You have the much needed resources to
We have
do what you want to do.
a little, but we are using it effectively.
All right. Thank you very much. Continue to stay with us in the program. She is Mrs. Henrietta Okedo, Executive Secretary, West African College of Nursing. Well, for another issue this afternoon, the Liberals Club of Furabe College is celebrating 20 years of existence. The Liberals Club was founded in 1998. A theme for the celebrations is 20 years of constructive liberalism, a struggle of social justice, accountability, and nationhood. Well, for more about the Liberals Club, I have in the studios Alpha Labali, a member of the Media Committee, Liberals Club. Good afternoon, Alpha. Welcome to the podium.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Now, when we hear about clubs on campuses, like these liberal clubs, most people take it as a fraternity that people are frowning upon these days. What makes yours different?
Well, basically, I think that assertion has been erroneous over the years because people have not been privy to some of our activities. That is why we decided that this 20th anniversary celebrations, we are going to involve the public and we are going to involve other institutions as well to see what we do and to understand basically what we stand for. Yes, of course, over the years and quite recently, a lot
I wanted to bring that.
I understand. A lot of things has actually happened which has sent a negative perception about clubs. And basically for our existence in 20 years, we've not experienced such. And this is because of what we stand for and what we believe in. We believe that our responsibility as an institution is to ensure that we groom future leaders, and that is what we are working towards. And in as much as this negative perception has been going on, the onus squarely lies on us to ensure that we change the perception of people about clubs and tell them that all is not bad about club activities.
And also, most of the time, one would say it's only what you want the people to know. Outsiders wouldn't be privy to what you do, especially during initiation process.
I think like any institution, for instance, you have the military, the police, or what have you. They have what they do for people to be part of them. As such, the Liberals Brotherhood and any other institution on campus also have their own processes. And you know, to say that processes or what have you, sometimes I think if you want to exactly know what we do, we encourage any individual who has met the requirement to come and be part of us. We believe in one thing. We believe in two things. Let me just put this. We believe in the Holy Quran and the Bible, because our institution is driven by God, and we believe what we do, we should be guided by the Almighty God.
Okay, so let's talk about the criteria of being a member of the Liberals Club.
Well, you should have gained admission into Furabe College, which is one. And of course, you should have
just
been...
Furabe College, that's...
yes, just Furabe College.
Not other universities.
Not other universities, we are at Furabe College. And you should have at least gone to year 2 with a very good grade point cumulative.
So you take the educational the academic aspect into consideration?
Yes, that is very paramount, because we believe the primary purpose of a student to go to Furabe College is to ensure that you secure a very good degree. And we are very meticulous in ensuring that we don't lose sight of that. Yes.
And also, let's talk about your achievements for the past 20 years, because we see you're celebrating under constructive liberalism, a struggle of social justice, accountability, and nationhood. Let's talk about that.
Well, our team is driven from the reason why we were established in the first place. In June 1998, few positive-minded individuals who were very, very disgruntled with the system by them decided to form an institution that would challenge the status quo. And the status quo by then was one in which there was no accountability, and of course the welfare of students were not being maximized to the fullest. And because this was a problem, few individuals decided that, okay, in order for things to change, we need to do something about it. That was when the Liberals Brotherhood was formed in the year 1998. And since then, I will state this in a very unambiguous balance that we have achieved more than any, excuse me, we have achieved more than any institutions on the soils of Rabi College. Most of the infrastructural developments you are seeing on campus were pioneered by leadership under our institution. So it tells you exactly what we stand for and how we've been able to ensure that our vision as an institution is maximized.
And now you're talking about your vision. Over it's 20 years. Would you be satisfied to say that you've accomplished what you set out to do? Because we see students are still frowning on certain injustice and all what is going on in campuses.
I could say that we have done our own bit, and basically there are still challenges. There are still challenges that we are trying to ensure that we address. For instance, with the issue of student welfare, over the years we've tried to negotiate with the central government to ensure they reduce fees, and that has been some of our activities, and also to ensure that we appeal to the government to give more granting aids to students who actually deserve it, because many of them are coming from different homes and not all of us can actually afford the tuition fees that are being slated by the administration. So basically I can say that to some extent we've been able to do our own bit, and even though there are challenges, we believe that we will work on them and continue to ensure that our vision of ensuring that students have access to opportunities are met, and these opportunities should cut across, irrespective of whatever political party you belong to or what you believe in. We believe that you should have access to whatever opportunities are provided.
Okay, and also finally, Alpha, before we go to another issue, let's talk about celebrations. What activities have you lined up? Because quite recently we see you defeating radicals. So let's talk about activities.
Well, the 2010 is very unique for any institution to have clocked 20 years. It's so child's play, and we started. I understand. Basically, we started with June 8th celebration in a way and manner in which we started with donations to the masjid at Limbana Street, which tells you of what we believe in, because our celebrations actually fell during the Ramadan period. So we decided that we should go and distribute items to the masjid at Limbana Street, and to also, go with that, we decided to organize the competition in which you've just made mention of. We decided to invite other institutions, and chief among which is the Radicals Club. We decided to invite them and to tell the public that, we may be divided by ideas, but we are united in one way or the other, because we believe in unity in diversity. So that is why we organized the football match, to ensure that we enjoyed the 20th anniversary celebration with other institutions. Okay. And to climax this, we are going to ensure we host a dinner which is going to take place on Friday the 23rd at Golden Tulip, and of course we've extended invitations to people in all walks of life. We did not limit it to our membership. We decided to invite other people as well, to ensure that we be part of the process, okay, and see and understand exactly what we stand for and what we believe in.
Thank you very much. He is Alpha Lavali, a member of the Media Committee Labour's Club. Well, we go for a short break. When we come back, we shall be talking to a member of the Strategic Communications Unit in the Ministry of Information and NASET. Well, in case you've just joined us, this is the Podium coming to you live on SABC Television in Freetown. For another issue this afternoon, the management of the, I beg your pardon, Parliament, there was, it could be recalled that the initial cost of the Sierra Leone passport skyrocketed from 100,000 leones to 750,000 leones, which was exchange rate of $100 at that time. Well, recently in Parliament, a member of the SLPP, Hindolo Gevao, tabled a motion in relation to the passport issue in Parliament for a review, as according to him, that agreement was not in the interest of the ordinary Sierra Leonean. Well, Native Consortium has given the government of Sierra Leone 21 days ultimatum to review the contract with NextPage. But in the studios this afternoon to take us further to know what's the government makes of the 21 days ultimatum, I have been joined in the studios by the National Outreach Coordinator in the Media and Strategic Unit of the Ministry of Information and Communications, Abubakar Josise. Good afternoon and welcome to the Podium.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Would you listen to this kind of ultimatum being given to the government?
Well, we are a government. We cannot just be pushed into anything by any individual or groups of individuals. I heard my brother Edmond Abu this morning issuing the 21 days ultimatum, but thank God this time around he's not issuing an ultimatum to take to the streets. He's threatening legal action in case whatever concerns he's raising are not addressed within the 21 days. What I would say with regards to that is that we know, of course, that was a contract signed by the previous administration, and the governance is continuity. We might want to take it step by step in order to avoid litigations coming up. There's a contract in place, we have to accept that, and if any case, we are first of all, as a first step, seeking to review that contract in its entirety, with a view to ensuring that whatever economic burden it has placed on the masses before, that economic burden is removed. So, in other words, we want a downward review of the price of passport to a level where it will be within the reach of the ordinary man, because our position on this is to ensure that whatever policies are implemented, they impact positively on the lives of the people and not the other way around. So in this case, we want to ensure the price comes down to where people will be able to afford it. As a matter of fact, every citizen of this country is entitled to the national passport. We will not want to create a situation where people will experience difficulty in accessing it. So that's the first step. Based on the outcome of the review, if that outcome is not adhered to or accepted by the other party, then definitely the whole contract might be annulled. But as a first step,
now, Mr. Sise, you are saying that you cannot just listen to anyone giving an ultimatum to the government, when we know this is in the best interest of the people of this country. And also, they are advocating for this change being brought. The motion was tabled in Parliament by an SLPP member of Parliament.
That was a private member motion. I am articulating the position of government. At the end of the day, the buck stops with us. So we have to take all the necessary steps to ensure we do the right thing.
But school of thought are saying that the government is dragging its feet. It's like this contract is a sacred cow. When we know, by reputations of the SLPP, this government, you have not faltered in putting a stop to corruption and all of what you're fighting against. Why is this going to be under review, and if we don't know when it will even start?
Well, people are entitled to their opinions. But at the end of the day, as a government, you take your time in whatever you do. You have to be very, very meticulous in order not to create other problems while in the process of solving a particular problem. A contract is a contract. And despite the fact that that contract was signed by the previous administration, as a government, we are bound by that same contract. All we have to do is to review it in the best interest of the people of this country, and that is what we are going to do. right? There are legal implications in some of these things that some people are not aware of. You cannot just wake up overnight and then brush some of these things aside entirely, right? So a review definitely will not take that much time, but it will take some time.
But this has not been the case in some other instances. Why would this take time? Why is this even
some other instances
being given in
like what?
We all know the scenarios in the
I don't know.
right
Just
now.
bring one to my attention. Like what? Is there any other contract we've just
Not
terminated?
about contracts.
Even
Even employment contracts.
Contract, what?
Even employment contracts.
Oh, that's a different ball game. I'm not here to go into the nitty-gritty of that, right? We know the legal issues around those employment contracts you are talking about. A contract is a contract, right? It can be terminated at any time as stated in the terms on which you are put on contract. Like for instance, in most cases, like let me just cite myself as an example. I'm also on contract. My contract letter clearly states that the government just needs to give me 1 month notice, and then my contract will be terminated if at all I go against the terms of the contract. And that is how it is in the letters of most people, but they normally don't say it. Once their contracts are terminated, they start shouting all over the place as if those contracts are sacrosanct.
Were they given notice?
Of course. Most times they are giving notice. But they will never tell you when that notice took effect. They'll just come and say, oh, I've been sacked. But the contract letters clearly state, you just have to be given 1 month notice. And if that one month notice elapses, then it can be terminated. So let me not digress.
Yes,
in this case, I'm saying this is a government contract. And it is the same thing we are saying. It's just that our brother Edmond and the member of parliament, they want the whole thing annulled straight away. Yeah, but in that circumstance, there are legal implications. We are very mindful of that fact. I will not want to attract litigations here and there. That's why we are saying as a first step review, we bring the price downward to where we think it can be affordable.
Do you think these people will agree to bring down the price?
Well,
when we know initially it was this amount, and now bringing it down.
Then we want government to take the next step of annulment, right? And in that case, we might not attract litigations.
But
So
they will say they sign the contract based on that amount. So would that not attract legal
have the right
implications
as a
also?
government. We have the right as a government to review it in the best interest of our people. As a matter of fact, while we were in opposition, when that contract was signed, we raised the red flag.
Yes, we remember.
Fine. So if we are here now, it is our responsibility, and that's what we are going to do. We are going to review it to ensure that it is satisfactory. It is in the best interest of the people. That is what we are going to. That is what a responsible government does.
So how soon will this happen?
Well, it will happen as soon as it's supposed to happen.
Okay, thank you very much, Josie Say from the National Outreach Coordinator, Media and Strategic Unit of the Ministry of Information and Communications. But for another issue, the management of the National Social and Insurance Trust, NASIT, has discovered that there has been an ongoing fraudulent scheme by some persons and entities who have been forging their Social Security Clearance Certificate, an act NASIT says has a tendency to defraud and tarnish the reputation of the institution. Well, to know more about this fake scheme, we have been joined in the studio by the Director of Public Affairs, NASIT, Usman Kuruma. Welcome to the podium.
Thank you for having me.
Now, how come your certificates are being forged if an insider is not involved?
Well, for us, we discovered that the NASIT clearance certificate was forged when an institution that wanted to award a contract to a bidder sent the certificates across to us for verification. And then we verified it and we realized that that one was a forged certificate. For an insider, I don't think an insider will forge a clearance certificate.
So how would these entities get hold of these certificates?
Well, the
if
clearance
not given by you?
No, the clearance certificate is one of the mechanisms that we use to enforce compliance. You know, before we issue it to any individual or institution, that institution must be in compliance with the NASIT Act. And compliance here, we mean you must have paid for your employees. you know, and that is the way, one of the ways that we enforce compliance, as I've already stated. So the individual or institution applies for it, we give it to you, we sign it, it's signed by the Director General or Deputy Director General, give it to you for the 3-month period. It's free. You just apply, it's a 5 working days, we give it to you, and you present it to the institution that wants to award the contract. But when this institution sent it to us, we realized that it was forged, and we
so
raised
when
the
you say
red flag.
forged, let's talk about the features. How would one know that this is not it's a duplicated one?
Well, you see, we know because, first of all, we look at the signature, and then we look at the logo, we look at other features, and also we look at the time frame, because it's a 3-month period thing. So the moment it was sent to us, we realized that it was forged. You know, how it was forged, that we want no one to say, because we've alerted all the institutions, we issued out a press release, we've been over the media, we've spoken about it, we've all over the country, right? And we've also requested institutions that want to award contract to bidders to please just send a clearance certificate to us. I mean, you do not need to come down to Freetown if you are in the provinces. We have offices all over the country.
But the clearance certificates are issued by you. Don't you have a database to go back to know that these people have been cleared by you? So why ask them to send that?
No, listen. No, the thing here is you can apply for clearance certificate anytime.
Okay.
Right? You can apply for
Well,
it
you
at any time.
don't you record them?
And no, we record them. It's a 3 month.
So why ask the people to send that?
No, because when you go to present a clearance certificate, maybe it's not the authentic one, it's a forged one. So we ask the institution, because you present it to the institution.
But
so
you should have the original copies. So
no, you still don't understand what I'm trying to say.
I do.
We give it to the institution presents it to the person that gives out the bid, right? Or the institution that gives out the bid. Okay. Now it is for that institution to award the contract based on the clearance certificate among other documents, right? But it's not. It's free. Any compliant institution can apply for an asset clearance certificate. So if you've issued a clearance certificate today, maybe you will not use it until after, close to the 3-month period. That is why we want it verified by us. If it's the actual one that
okay,
is
that's
issued.
why you ask them.
Yes,
again.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
And also, let's talk about what you've done to stop this.
Well, one of the measures is raising the red flag, sensitizing the people, right? Everybody, and asking them to just submit. It's free. Just submit the clearance certificate to us. It takes just about 5-10 minutes for us to realize that it's the original, it's not the forged one.
So that's
right?
what you are embarking on now.
Yes, that's what
asking all these entities
to please. We are just asking them. We are not forcing them to do, but to please just send the clearance certificate to us, to any NACIT office, for us to verify it.
So if they don't?
Well, if they don't, then the bidder might be submitting a forged clearance certificate, so and we will not be there.
Why wait for them to for bidding contracts to happen? Now that you've noticed that this has been happening, how would you stop it?
You see, one of the ways is we're going to strengthen the features, but it is not all institutions that know the clearance certificate, the details of the clearance certificate.
Okay.
This is institution A. It wants to award contract to bidders, but it does not know the features of the clearance certificate. It is the bidder, because they are the institutions that are requesting for it, and not the institution that want to award the contract. Okay. So if it is submitted to institution A, we want that institution to just send the clearance certificate to us to verify it, right? Because criminals always want to beat the system. And we have to devise ways by which we really catch them, we apprehend them, so as to stop the.
So what would happen to this one that you notice?
First of all, the bidder loses the contract. Okay. That is one, and two.
And no criminal.
We take legal action against that institution. Those are the measures, because if there has to be collaboration between and among all of us. Right? NACIT as an institution and other institutions that want to award contract. If there is that collaboration, then I'm sure the fraudsters will not be able to succeed.
So in the meantime, how would you ensure that this is not?
The thing is, we continue issuing clearance certificates to institutions because that is part of our mandate. As long as you are complying, you come, you apply for it, we give it to you, right? We will not stop. The only thing is we'll strengthen the features, and we'll also continue to sensitize, to ask institutions to please just submit the clearance certificate to us for verification, and then we give it back to you. And we've had a collaboration between a ministry and NACIT. When we wanted to award a contract, we also sent, some documents to the ministry. Ministry, found out that no, this particular person was not in compliance of ABCD. You know, that's the sort of collaboration we want.
Okay, so is it true that sometimes most of these institutions don't meet the criteria of being cleared and given this clearance certificate, but then still, because of a greasing of the palms, you just issue this certificate?
No.
And when people check, they are not even paying NACIT for their employees.
No, to answer to your question, it is not true. Because it goes through a whole lot of processes. You apply for it, it goes to, operations division, it goes to the technical, the ICT division, it goes to the legal division, and it comes back to operations.
So how
it's not
do you
one
verify that these people have complied with the criteria?
We have the compliance. We have the compliance department, okay. And the compliance department has a list of all the institutions, complying and non-complying institutions. So when an institution or a person applies for a clearance certificate, it goes to the compliance department. They check, they make sure it's up to date, and then they send it to ICT. ICT does its own job. It sends it to the legal also. Gives it the seal, and it's sent to operations division for signature, and then it's sent to regional office. Okay. So you see, it goes through a whole lot of processes. But it is documents already issued that is sometimes forged, right? It is not like the one that is coming from what. For instance, if we give you the clearance certificate, we want to put forge the signature, and photocopy, forge the signature, that sort of thing. Okay. And that is why we are kindly asking institutions to please send the clearance certificate to us for verification.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Usman Kuroma, the Director of Public Affairs, NACIT. Well, that's how we end the podium for this afternoon. Many thanks to my studio guest, Josie Say from the Strategic Communication Unit, Madam Enreta Okedo from the West African College of Nursing, Liberals. Liberals, dictator, liberals, are you?
We have a liberator.
Liberator, Alpha, Lavali, and Mr. Usman Kuroma. Many thanks to my producer, Sal Mataba. Our quote for today came from Ban Ki-moon, the former UN Secretary General, which says sustainable development is a pathway to the future we want for all. Well, that's the end of the podium. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamar. The podium returns tomorrow, same time, on this same station. Goodbye.